Today I am going to tell you the chapter number 2, that is the flower. All flowering plants are grouped together as they produce flowers. Flowers are the reproductive parts of flowering plants. Flowers vary greatly in shape, size and color, while plants such as grasses have dull tiny flowers. Now here is the structure of a flower. Flowers are generally attached to the stem by a stalk, also known as pedicel. Plants such as tulip and lily have only one pedicel bearing a single flower. A typical flower usually has four basic parts or whorls, that are calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. These four parts are arranged in four whorls or concentric rings. The four whorls arise from the tip of the pedicel. Now here are the functions of different parts of a flower. So the first one is calyx. The calyx is the outermost wall. It consists of green leaf-like structures called sepals. And the function of calyx is to enclose and protect the inner parts of a flower in its bud stage. The second one is corolla. The corolla is the second wall that consists of petals, and its function is to surround and protect the reproductive parts of a flower. Androecium. The androecium is the third wall. It is the male reproductive part of a flower. It contains male reproductive units called stamen, and its function is to produce pollen grains that contains the male reproductive cells called the male gametes. Now the last and the fourth wall is gynoecium. It is the female reproductive part, and a swollen part is called ovary. It is situated at the base of the carpel, and the style is the long narrow tube like extension of the ovary. The function of gynoecium is the ovules in the ovary contain the female reproductive cells for reproduction. Now see what is complete and what is incomplete flower. Most flowers have all the four whorls, that is calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. The flowers that have all four whorls are called complete flowers. For example, pea, mustard, hibiscus, sunflower and so on. However, some flowers lack one or more whorls and are called incomplete flowers. For example, mulberry, oak, begonia and so on. Now here are the unisexual and bisexual flowers. Some plants have flowers that have only male reproductive parts or female reproductive parts. Such are called unisexual flowers. For example, papaya. And some plants that have flowers that have both the male and female reproductive parts on the same flower, they are called bisexual flowers. For example, rose and hibiscus. Now see the function of a flower. The main functions of the flower are pollination and then fertilization. So see what is pollination. For seed formation, the pollen grains produced in the anther must be transferred to the stigma of the pistil. The transfer of pollen grains from the anther of a flower to the stigma of the same or another flower is called pollination. Pollination is of two types, self-pollination and cross-pollination. So see what is self-pollination. Self-pollination involves the same plant when the pollen grains are transferred from the anthers to the stigma of the same flower or anther another flower of the same plant. Then see what is cross-pollination. When the pollen grains are transferred from the anthers of a flower to the stigma of a flower of another plant of the same type, it is called cross-pollination. Now children, see the agents of pollination. So wind, water, insects, birds and other animals help in transferring of pollen grains from the another of one flower to the stigma of another flower. They are therefore called the agents of pollination. Pollination by wind. The flowers of grasses such as rice, maize, and so on are pollinated by winds. Wind pollinated flowers show the following characteristics. Their pollen grains are dry and light. The pollen grains are produced in a large quantity since a large number of them may not reach the stigma of a flower. The style projects out and has a large feathery stigma so that the pollen grains flying in the wind can be easily received. Pollination by insects. Insects such as bees and butterflies visit flowers to collect nectar. In the process, pollen grains get stuck to their body parts. When they visit another flower, the pollen grains get transferred to the stigma of that flower. This is the most common method of pollination. Now see pollination by water. Pollination by water occurs in aquatic plants such as Hydrilla and Vallisneria. Pollination by animals. Birds, squirrels, and bats also act as agents of pollination. When these animals come in contact with the flower, the pollen grains get stuck to their body. The pollen grains get dropped off on another flower when the animal visits that flower. Now see the fertilization. When a pollen grain reaches a stigma, it begins to grow a pollen tube. The pollen tube travels down through the style to reach an ovule inside the ovary. On reaching an ovule, a male reproductive cell or male gamete present in the pollen grain unites with the egg cell or female gamete in the ovule. So the process of fusion of the male gamete with the female gamete is called fertilization. The single cell produced as a result of fertilization is called zygote. Now see the parts of fruits and their function. A fruit is a ripened ovary. A fleshy fruit consists of two parts, pericarp and seed. The pericarp develops from the wall of the ovary. It consists of three parts, epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp. A fruit may be a dry or fleshy. In dry fruits, the fruit wall or pericarp is hard, thin and dry. It is not distinguished into three layers. And in fleshy fruits, the fruit wall is thick and fleshy. So it is distinguished into epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp. The seed, the ovules present in the ovary develop into seeds after fertilization. A fruit may have one seed as in mango and plum or many seeds as in apple, lemon, orange and tomato. The seeds of different plants show great diversity in size, shape and appearance. Germination of seeds. Under favorable conditions which include water, air and the right temperature, a seed germinates to produce a new plant. The process by which a sleeping or dormant embryo becomes active and grow into a new plant is known as germination. Germination is of two types, apical germination and hypogale germination. In apical germination, the cotyledons are pushed above the soil. The cotyledons become green and form the first leaves. This type of germination is seen in many dicot seeds such as bean, sunflower, cotton and castor. In hypogale germination, cotyledons remain below the soil and the plumule comes out to form the new leaves. This type of germination is mostly seen in monocot seeds such as wheat, rice and maize, and in some dicot plants such as mango, gram and pea.